Laura and her 10-year-old daughter, Sophia, lived a quiet life in a typical residential neighborhood. Laura, a single mother, worked as a nurse at a local hospital and took pride in raising Sophia with love and dedication. Their house was cozy, decorated with photographs of happy moments and colorful drawings made by Sophia, which decorated the walls. The relationship between mother and daughter was close and affectionate, with Laura always encouraging Sophia's curiosity and natural enthusiasm for life. Sophia was a vibrant, energetic child known for her infectious smile and friendly nature. At school, she was a diligent student and had many friends. Recently, Sophia started talking about some new friends she had met, especially highlighting a girl named Clara. Laura, like every mother, was happy to see her daughter making new friends and always listened attentively to the stories that Sophia told about her adventures and games with her friends. Laura and Sophia's days followed a comfortable routine. Laura took care of daily responsibilities, such as work and household chores, while Sophia attended school and participated in extracurricular activities, such as dance and soccer classes. On weekends, mother and daughter enjoyed spending time together, exploring local parks, visiting museums, or simply watching movies at home. Despite occasional challenges, such as the absence of Sophia's father, Laura strived to provide a stable and loving life for her daughter. Laura has always made a point of maintaining an open and communicative environment with Sophia, encouraging her to talk about her feelings and experiences. Sophia, in turn, was an expressive child and liked to share the details of her day with her mother. The routine of sitting together for dinner and talking about what had happened at school was an important moment for both of them, strengthening the bond between them. It was clear that, despite the difficulties, Laura and Sophia's home was full of love and mutual support. In addition to being a devoted mother, Laura was also a respected professional. At the hospital, she was known for her empathy and ability to care for patients with compassion. Her colleagues admired her ability to balance a demanding career with raising Sophia, and many considered her an example of strength and resilience. For Laura, however, the priority was always Sophia, and she made a point of being present at all the important moments in her daughter's life, from school presentations to doctor's appointments. Life seemed to follow a predictable and stable course for Laura and Sophia. However, this peaceful routine was about to be shaken by an unexpected discovery. When Sophia made new friends at school, Laura noticed the joy and excitement in her daughter, but she couldn't imagine how much this new friendship would change their lives. The photograph that Sophia brought home, showing her new friend Clara, would spark a series of events and revelations that Laura could never have predicted. Laura and Sophia's family dynamics, although simple, were based on a strong structure of trust and love. Laura always believed that, as a mother, her main responsibility was to protect and guide Sophia, preparing her for the world. The approaching discovery, however, would challenge this view and force Laura to reconsider many aspects of her past and the choices she had made. The peaceful life they knew was about to be turned upside down, revealing long-buried secrets. Sophia, for her part, was simply excited about her new friendships and the beginning of a new chapter in her school life. She had no idea the impact a simple photograph could have or the questions that would begin to arise. For Sophia, life was about present moments and the excitement of meeting new people and exploring the world around her. The imminent revelation, however, would open a new world of possibilities and challenges for her and her mother, bringing complex issues and intense emotions to the surface. On a quiet afternoon, Laura and Sophia were at home, enjoying a rare moment of rest. Sophia, with her usual enthusiasm, ran into the room with a radiant expression on her face, holding a photograph in her hands. She had taken the photo at school earlier during recess and was eager to show it to her mother. Laura, always interested in her daughter's news, dropped what she was doing and prepared to listen to another one of Sophia's lively stories about her school adventures. Sophia, smiling from ear to ear, handed the photo to Laura and began talking excitedly about her new friends. "Mom, this is Clara, my new friend. She's super cool and we have so much fun together." Laura took the photograph and her initial smile began to fade as her eyes fixed on the image. There was Sophia standing next to another girl who, at first, Laura thought was just a random friend. However, as she looked closer, something unusual stood out. The girl next to Sophia in the photo was her exact copy. They had the same wavy brown hair, the same big, expressive eyes, and even the same facial features. Laura felt a chill run down her spine and her heart started to beat faster. It was like looking at a mirror image of Sophia, but the girl next to her was a stranger. The resemblance was so disturbing that Laura was speechless, unable to understand what she was seeing. His first thought was that there must be some kind of error, perhaps an illusion or a lighting trick, but the reality was undeniable. Who is this? Laura asked, trying to keep her voice steady as the feeling of discomfort grew. Sophia, without realizing the impact of the photo on her mother, replied casually, "It's Clara, my new friend. Isn't it amazing? Everyone at school says we're identical. It's like I have a twin." These words hit Laura like a blow. The idea of Sophia having a lost twin was something that had never crossed her mind. She always knew that Sophia was an only child, or at least that was what she believed. Sophia's revelation left her stunned and full of questions. Laura tried to remain calm, but inside, her mind was racing. The possibility of Sophia having a twin sister was both fascinating and frightening. How could it be possible? She began to question everything, from the pregnancy to Sophia's birth, looking for any memory that could explain this situation. But nothing made sense. Clara's mystery began to deepen in her mind, leaving her restless and eager for answers. The photo, which Sophia thought was just a fun memory, was quickly turning into a perplexing enigma. While Laura struggled to process what was happening, Sophia continued to talk happily about her new friend. She mentioned how they liked the same things like games and movies, and how they felt connected in a special way. For Sophia, the resemblance was just an interesting coincidence, something that made their new friendship even more special. But for Laura, the situation was much more serious and complex. She needed answers, and fast. That night, after Sophia went to bed, Laura sat alone in the kitchen, looking at the photo once again. Laura's mind was in a whirlwind, full of unanswered questions. She knew she couldn't just ignore what she had seen. I needed to find out who Clara was and if she could really be Sophia's twin sister. The idea was both exciting and terrifying. As a mother, Laura wanted to protect Sophia from anything that could hurt her, but at the same time, she knew she needed to get to the bottom of this mystery. Determined to get answers, Laura started thinking about her next steps. She knew she needed to talk to Clara's family and understand more about her story. Laura also considered seeking professional help, perhaps a private investigator, to help unravel this enigma. The photograph, which was once just a reflection of Sophia's happy moment, was now a key to an unknown past. Laura was about to embark on a journey that could change her and Sophia's lives forever, but there was no turning back. She needed answers, and she was determined to find them. After being surprised by Sophia's photo with her identical friend, Laura decided she needed to investigate the other girl's identity. Still disturbed by the striking resemblance between Sophia and Clara, she began her investigation subtly, asking Sophia for more details about her new friends. During a leisurely breakfast, Laura casually asked, "Sophia, can you tell me more about your new friends? Especially Clara, the one who's so much like you." Sophia, still excited about her friendship with Clara, began to speak without hesitation. She explained that Clara was a new student at school and that, like Sophia, she was 10 years old. Sophia mentioned that the teachers and classmates were as surprised as Laura by the resemblance between the two, even joking about them being twins separated at birth. For Sophia, this was just a fun curiosity, but for Laura, the situation seemed more and more unusual. Laura tried to keep a neutral expression, but her mind was full of questions. Who were Clara's parents? Where had she come from? Was there any chance that Clara and Sophia were in fact connected in some way? Determined to find out more, Laura decided to speak directly to Clara's parents. Her concern and discomfort with the situation grew, and she knew she needed answers to deal with the uneasiness she felt. The idea that her daughter could have a copy in the world left her disconcerted. The next day, Laura went to Sophia's school during student dismissal time, hoping to find Clara and her parents. When she got there, she saw Clara together with her mother, Marta, waiting at the gate. With a little nervousness, Laura approached and introduced herself. She mentioned having heard a lot about Clara through Sophia and praised the girl's new friendship. Marta, a friendly and smiling woman, was happy to meet Sophia's mother and quickly started a conversation. During the conversation, Laura mentioned the surprising similarity between Sophia and Clara, hoping for a reaction that could explain the situation. Marta smiled and admitted that she also found the similarity intriguing. She revealed that Clara had recently been adopted, which made Laura snap. Clara's adoption added another layer to the mystery. Could it be possible that the girls had some biological connection? Marta explained that she knew little about Clara's biological parents, as the adoption had been done quickly and discreetly. With this new information, Laura felt a mixture of relief and concern. The fact that Clara was adopted meant that there were many unknowns about her past, which further complicated the situation. Laura was grateful for the conversation with Marta and decided that she needed to investigate further. Upon returning home, she sat down with Sophia and carefully asked more questions about Clara, trying to uncover any details that could help clarify the situation. Sophia, without realizing how seriously her mother was taking the situation, talked more about the jokes her classmates made about them being twins. Laura, trying not to show her concern, just listened and encouraged Sophia to share more. After finishing the conversation, Laura knew she needed to take a more decisive step. She considered taking a DNA test, but before that, she wanted to confirm some information through adoption records. Determined to find answers, Laura began planning her next approach. She considered visiting the orphanage where Clara had been adopted or searching for official records that could reveal more about the girl's background. The similarity couldn't be ignored, and Laura felt like she was getting close to an important revelation. The idea that Sophia might have a biological sister in Clara filled her with conflicting emotions, but she knew she needed to keep investigating, both for herself and for Sophia. Intrigued by the similarity between Sophia and Clara, Laura decided to deepen her investigation to better understand the story of Clara and her family. She began communicating with other parents at the school and was able to schedule a meeting with Marta, Clara's adoptive mother, to get more information. Marta was receptive and welcoming, agreeing to meet Laura for a more detailed conversation about Clara's adoption and the girl's origins. During the meeting, held in a local cafe, Marta told Laura about Clara's adoption process. She explained that Clara had been adopted about 6 months earlier from an orphanage in the city. Marta mentioned that the adoption process was quick, as Clara had been abandoned as a baby and, therefore, had few records about her biological family. The only information available was that Clara had been left at the orphanage with no further contact from relatives, which made it difficult to trace her lineage. As Marta spoke, Laura listened attentively, trying to capture every detail that could help unravel the mystery. Marta was open and even curious about the possibility of a biological connection between the girls, given their remarkable similarity. She confessed that she also found it strange how much Clara and Sophia looked alike, both in appearance and in some personal quirks and tastes. This detail further increased Laura's suspicions that something bigger was at play. Laura then asked Marta about any additional documents or information that could help clarify Clara's origins. Marta said that other than the adoption documents provided by the orphanage, there wasn't much else to discover. Clara had no birth certificate, just a name and the approximate date she was found. Marta mentioned that, as it was a case of abandonment, the information was scarce and inaccurate, making any attempt to track down biological relatives difficult. After the conversation with Marta, Laura was left with a mixed feeling of hope and frustration. The possibility that Clara and Sophia could be twins separated at birth seemed more plausible, but the lack of concrete documents made the investigation even more complicated. Laura then decided to look for the orphanage where Clara had been found, hoping that some detail might have been forgotten, or that an employee might be able to provide additional information about the girl. Laura visited the orphanage, where she was welcomed by the director, a kind woman who knew Clara's story. The director confirmed that Clara had been left at the door of the orphanage on a rainy night, without any documents or clues as to her origin. The only information was a note that accompanied the baby, with a message saying that the child deserved a better life than the mother could offer. The director explained that Clara's case was sad, but unfortunately not uncommon, and that many children went through similar situations. Even with few concrete clues, the director of the orphanage showed Laura an old record, with the little information noted about the night Clara arrived. Laura analyzed the document, desperately searching for anything that could indicate a connection to Sophia. Despite the little information, Laura noticed a coincidence that she couldn't ignore. Clara's date of birth was exactly the same as Sophia's. This detail, while insufficient to draw definitive conclusions, solidified the idea that the girls could be connected in some way. Convinced that she needed to seek definitive confirmation, Laura decided to talk to a lawyer specializing in adoption cases and birth records. She wanted to better understand the next steps to investigate the possibility that Clara and Sophia were twins. The lawyer explained that, given the scenario, a DNA test would be the best way to confirm or refute any biological relationship between the girls. Laura knew that this would be a difficult step, but necessary to finally discover the truth about the connection between Sophia and Clara. Determined to leave no stone unturned, Laura also began exploring her own medical history and Sophia's birth records. She revisited old memories and even talked to family members to see if there was any possibility of a second child being born without her knowledge. Laura's journey was just beginning, and she knew that regardless of the outcome, the most important thing was to ensure Sophia and Clara's well-being as they navigated these uncertain and exciting waters. With the possibility of Clara being Sophia's twin sister weighing on her mind, Laura began to reflect deeply on her own past. She spent nights awake, revisiting memories of a time when her life was full of uncertainty. A particularly difficult phase came to light when Laura, still very young, was facing financial and health problems, as well as a tumultuous relationship with Sophia's father, who had been absent and unresponsive throughout much of her pregnancy. During this phase, Laura remembered going through moments of extreme vulnerability. There were periods when she was under medical care due to pregnancy complications, and she also faced deep postpartum depression. These memories brought up mixed feelings of pain and guilt, and Laura wondered if something could have happened that she didn't know about or didn't remember clearly. The idea that she could have given birth to twins, but that one of them was taken away or lost without her knowledge, began to take shape in her mind. Laura remembered confusing, fragmented details from that time. At times, she wondered if there was something the doctors or nurses could have hidden from her to protect her from further suffering, considering her delicate mental and physical state. The idea of a twin sister for Sophia, separated at birth, seemed increasingly plausible and terrifying. This raised questions about what could have happened, and who could have made such a decision without informing her. With these doubts in mind, Laura decided to investigate further. She began searching through old medical documents and hospital reports, trying to find any clue that might shed light on what happened during and after Sophia's birth. Laura also contacted former doctors and nurses, hoping someone would remember something relevant. With each new discovery, Laura was faced with gaps and inconclusive information, which only increased her frustration and the feeling that something important was being omitted. As Laura delved into the turbulent waters of her past, she also began talking to family and friends who were around at that time. She asked them about any events or comments that might have been made that she, at the time, may not have noticed or fully understood. Some friends mentioned that they remembered Laura being extremely stressed and confused, which could have contributed to a distorted perception of events. Laura's investigations led her to confront not only the possibility of a lost twin, but also the difficult choices and moments of despair that marked her life at that time. She reflected on how, amidst the chaos, she might not have noticed signs or evidence that pointed to the existence of another child. The idea that perhaps there had been a mistake or a deliberate intervention began to weigh on his mind. Laura struggled with guilt and confusion, trying to understand if there was anything she could have done differently. In addition to her own introspection, Laura considered talking to a therapist to help organize her thoughts and emotions. She knew that to handle the situation in the best way for Sophia, she would need to be emotionally stable and prepared. The prospect of discovering such a devastating truth was frightening, and Laura wanted to ensure she was ready to deal with the consequences, both for herself and for Sophia and Clara. The possibility of a truth hidden for so long required courage and determination. In the end, Laura decided that she needed to find out the truth, no matter how painful it might be. Sophia and Clara's peace of mind and well-being depended on it. She knew she couldn't continue living with so many unanswered questions. Laura braced herself for what could be a surprising and potentially devastating revelation. She was willing to face any truth that came her way, believing that only by knowing reality could she protect and support Sophia and Clara in the best way possible. Determined to uncover the truth about Sophia and Clara's striking resemblance, Laura decided it was time to confront Clara's family. The uneasiness and mystery surrounding the girls' possible connection was too intense to ignore. Laura, anxious and with a knot in her stomach, arranged a meeting with Marta and her family, explaining that she had some important questions about Clara that needed to be discussed. On the day of the meeting, Laura was nervous, but determined. Marta and her husband, Carlos, cordially welcomed Laura into their home. After some initial formalities, Laura explained the reason for her visit. She talked about the similarities between Sophia and Clara, both physical and behavioral, and how this had raised suspicions of a possible biological relationship. Marta and Carlos listened attentively, and Laura realized that they were also curious about the subject. Carlos was the first to speak, revealing that Clara had been adopted from a local orphanage. He explained that when they decided to adopt, they looked for an orphanage that didn't require a lot of paperwork, as they wanted to quickly provide a home for a child in need. Clara was one of the first children they met, and because of her sweetness and need for a family, they decided to adopt her almost immediately. However, Clara's documentation was minimal, and little information was available about her biological parents. Marta added that, although they knew that Clara had been left at the orphanage without many details about her origin, they had never investigated this issue in depth. For them, Clara was their beloved daughter, regardless of where she came from. However, they admitted that the resemblance to Sophia was intriguing and that they were now also interested in finding out more about Clara's past. Marta showed Laura the few documents they had for Clara, which confirmed her adoption, but did not contain concrete information about her biological family. Laura, with a heavy heart, realized that the situation was even more complicated than she imagined. The lack of information about Clara's background meant that answers could be difficult to find. However, she knew she needed to move forward with the investigation. Laura suggested the possibility of a DNA test to confirm whether the girls were indeed biological relatives. Marta and Carlos, although surprised by the suggestion, agreed that it was a sensible idea considering the circumstances. As they talked, Laura and Marta shared stories about the girls. Both were moved to realize how many similarities there were between Clara and Sophia, from personality traits to small habits. Marta revealed that Clara had always been a child who was curious about her origins, especially after starting school and realizing that she was different from many other children. The idea of discovering more about his biological roots now seemed not just important but necessary. Carlos, who had been quieter during the conversation, finally spoke. He expressed concern about the emotional impact this discovery could have on Clara and Sophia. He questioned how they should approach the subject with the girls, especially if the DNA test confirmed that they were twins separated at birth. Laura agreed that the situation needed to be handled delicately and that the girls' emotional well-being was the top priority. They decided that regardless of the test result, they should work together to support Clara and Sophia. With the agreement to take the DNA test, Laura and Clara's family felt a mixture of anxiety and anticipation. The test could shed light on the mystery that had formed around the girls, but it could also bring complex and painful issues to light. Laura left the meeting with mixed feelings, but also with a new determination to discover the truth. For her, understanding Clara and Sophia's past was essential for the future of the two girls, and she was willing to face any challenges that came their way. Determined to clarify the possible connection between Sophia and Clara, Laura decided to deepen her investigation into adoption and orphanage records. With the cooperation of Clara's family, she began a detailed search for documents that could provide more information about the girls' past. Laura began by revisiting the orphanage where Clara was found, hoping that the records, sparse as they were, might offer some crucial clue. At the orphanage, Laura was welcomed by the director, who remembered Clara and the few details available about her arrival. The director explained that Clara had been left at the door of the orphanage on a rainy night, without any information about her biological parents. Laura asked to see all available records from that time, including any notes made by employees. While reviewing the documents, Laura found a description that mentioned that Clara had a sister of similar appearance who was with her mother at the time Clara was dropped off. This note sparked hope in Laura, but it also filled her with new doubts. If Clara and Sophia were really sisters, why was only one of them left at the orphanage? And why did she never know about the existence of another daughter? Determined to uncover the truth, Laura headed to the Public Records Department to check birth and adoption documents from the time Sophia and Clara were born. The bureaucracy was dense, but Laura was determined not to give up until she found answers. At the public archives, Laura spent hours leafing through old records. She was looking for any record of adoption, birth, or even a declaration of abandonment that could match Sophia and Clara's birth dates. After an exhaustive search, Laura found a birth certificate that mentioned the birth of 2 girls on the same date as Sophia and Clara. The mother's name was different from what was on Sophia's documents, but the girls' birth names were the same. Intrigued and a little scared, Laura began to wonder if there had been a mistake or if a secret had been kept on purpose. For her, the similarity between the girls and the fact that they were born on the same day were too strong evidence to be coincidences. Laura decided it was time to confront this possibility and seek out a genetic specialist to perform a DNA test. She contacted a renowned clinic to schedule the tests and ensure that all information was treated with the utmost confidentiality. While awaiting the results of the DNA test, Laura reflected on the potential impact of the discovery. If Sophia and Clara were really twins, it would change everything for both families. Laura worried about how the girls would react to the news and how it would affect their everyday lives. She also thought about how to handle coming out to the public if necessary, and what it would mean for the girls' future. Marta and Carlos, in turn, were equally anxious and fully collaborated with the process. Finally, the day of the DNA test results arrived. Laura, Marta, Carlos, and the girls met at the clinic, where they were welcomed by a geneticist. The atmosphere was tense, and everyone waited in silence while the geneticist explained the process. With a serious expression, he announced that tests confirmed that Sophia and Clara were in fact identical twins. The shock and emotion on everyone's faces was palpable, and Laura felt a wave of emotions wash over her: relief, joy, and a deep sadness for lost time. After the initial impact, everyone met to discuss the next steps. The 2 families decided they needed time to process the information and plan how to tell the girls the news. Marta and Carlos expressed their gratitude to Laura for her determination to seek the truth, and everyone agreed that the girls' emotional well-being was the priority. With the truth finally revealed, they knew they needed support to help Sophia and Clara understand and accept the situation, ensuring that love and unity were the main focus of this new phase of their lives. After weeks of intense investigation, and with the support of the families involved, Laura and Clara's family finally scheduled a DNA test to confirm the possible relationship between the girls. The tension in the air was palpable as everyone awaited the outcome that could change their lives forever. The test was carried out in a specialized clinic, where both families found themselves in an environment of expectation and nervousness. The girls, Sophia and Clara, were oblivious to the gravity of the situation, but the adults knew they were about to discover something monumental. The geneticist who conducted the DNA testing was professional and understanding. He explained the process in detail, making sure everyone understood what was happening. Saliva samples were taken from Sophia and Clara, and the geneticist mentioned that the results would be available in a few days. Laura, Marta, and Carlos prepared themselves for what seemed like an endless wait. Each day that passed was filled with anxiety and anticipation as they tried to keep the girls distracted and occupied. When the day of results finally arrived, the 2 families gathered at the clinic. Laura felt a mix of hope and fear. She knew that regardless of the outcome, their lives would change forever. The geneticist, with a neutral expression, opened the envelope with the results and read them out loud. He confirmed that Sophia and Clara were, in fact, identical twin sisters. The news fell like a bomb, triggering a wave of emotions that swept everyone present. Laura felt a mixture of relief and pain. relief at finally having a clear answer to the mystery that haunted her, and pain at the separation and lost time. Marta and Carlos, who always knew that Clara had an unknown history, were shocked by the confirmation that she had such a close biological sister. The revelation brought to light a series of questions about how the girls were separated and what really happened in the past. The atmosphere in the clinic became heavy as everyone processed the enormity of the situation. The girls' reactions were curious and confused. For them, the idea of having a twin sister was fascinating and at the same time difficult to fully understand. They were carefully and kindly informed about the discovery, with the families trying to explain the situation in a way that was understandable to their age. Sophia and Clara, although surprised, seemed excited about the idea of having a twin sister and began asking questions, expressing a mixture of emotions that ranged from joy to the search for answers. The families knew they had a long way to go to fully understand the situation and help the girls cope with their new reality. They decided to seek the support of psychologists and family counselors to guide Sophia and Clara during this period of adjustment. Additionally, families also needed to work together to understand the circumstances of the girls' separation and how it would affect their future lives. The revelation brought a sense of urgency to clarify the past and ensure that both had all the support they needed. Laura and Marta talked about how the girls could keep in touch and get to know each other better now that they knew they were twins. They discussed the possibility of regular meetings and joint activities to strengthen the bond between Sophia and Clara. At the same time, it was crucial that each family respected the girls' space and time to process everything that was happening. Carlos expressed his concerns about the emotional impact of the revelation, but everyone agreed that the most important thing was unconditional love and support. As the shock of the revelation began to wear off, Laura, Marta, and Carlos began to plan for the future. They knew they would need to face many challenges, but they were also optimistic about the possibilities that opened up for Sophia and Clara. The girls, now aware of their special connection, were excited to explore what it meant to be twins. The families were determined to ensure that, despite the challenges, this new phase was full of love, understanding, and growth. The truth, finally revealed, became the starting point for a new chapter in their lives, full of possibilities and hope. The discovery that Sophia and Clara were identical twin sisters brought a series of challenges and emotions to both families. At first, Laura, Marta, and Carlos were stunned by the revelation. The initial shock gave way to a sense of urgency to understand how this would affect their lives and, more importantly, the lives of the girls. Both families knew they needed to handle the situation sensitively and carefully, especially to protect Sophia and Clara's emotional well-being. Laura found herself reflecting deeply on how to integrate this new reality into her and Sophia's lives. She knew she needed to act in a balanced way so as not to overwhelm Sophia with the complexity of the situation. At the same time, Laura felt a mixture of joy at having discovered the truth and sadness for the years the girls spent apart. She discussed with Marta and Carlos the best way to introduce the girls to their new reality and how to help them adjust to the fact that they suddenly had a twin sister. Marta and Carlos were also going through an emotional roller coaster. They always knew that Clara had an unknown past, but the confirmation that she had a twin sister was surprising. They were determined to do what was best for Clara, but they also worried about the practical and emotional implications of this discovery. How should they explain to Clara why they were separated? And how could they ensure that girls had the opportunity to develop a sisterly bond without feeling like they were being forced into it? The conversations between the families were intense and full of emotion. Both sides wanted to ensure that the girls had all the support they needed to deal with this new phase. They decided to seek help from child therapists who specialize in adoption and family reunification. Laura, Marta, and Carlos believed that professionals could offer guidance to deal with the complex emotions that Sophia and Clara could face, helping them to understand the situation in a healthy and safe way. Logistics was also a concern. With Clara living in a foster family and Sophia with her biological mother, the two families needed to find ways to facilitate contact between the sisters. They decided to establish a schedule of regular visits and family get-togethers, where the girls could spend time together and build a relationship. Additionally, they considered the possibility of vacations together to strengthen bonds between families and create positive memories for the girls. Laura felt an emotional toll as she considered the changes this would bring to her everyday life. As a single mother, she was always used to making important decisions alone, but now she needed to collaborate closely with Marta and Carlos. It was essential for Laura to ensure Sofia felt safe and loved during this transition. She was also aware that in addition to emotional support, legal and practical issues needed to be resolved, such as visitation rights and shared parenting decisions. Marta and Carlos were equally determined to make sure Clara felt comfortable and loved. They began to talk more openly with Clara about her adoption and about Sofia. It was a delicate conversation, but important to ensure that Clara understood that, despite having started out on separate paths, she and Sofia now had the opportunity to build a sisterly relationship. Marta and Carlos also reflected on how to explain the situation to their family and friends, looking for ways to make this new phase as peaceful as possible for everyone involved. As both families navigated this new chapter, the main focus remained on the girls' well-being. Laura, Marta, and Carlos were aware that, despite the challenges, this was a unique opportunity for Sofia and Clara. They committed to working together, not only to support the girls, but also to ensure they felt loved and accepted. The revelation of their biological connection was a starting point for a new and special relationship, and everyone was determined to do whatever was necessary to nurture and strengthen that bond. With the truth finally revealed, Laura, Marta, and Carlos committed to building a new beginning for Sofia and Clara, now recognized as twin sisters. Families began to organize regular get-togethers, giving the girls the opportunity to get to know each other better and explore the special bond they shared. For Sofia and Clara, the discovery of having a twin sister was an exciting experience full of possibilities. They were eager to explore their new relationship and understand more about their origins. In the first meeting after the revelation, the girls were excited and curious. They spent the whole day playing, talking, and comparing tastes and interests. Sofia and Clara discovered many things in common, from their hobbies to little quirks. The physical resemblance was undeniable, but it was the emotional connection that really caught everyone's attention. It seemed that despite growing up in different families, the two girls shared a special bond that transcended time and distance. To facilitate this transition, the families decided to carry out joint activities. They spent weekends together, visiting parks, museums, and participating in recreational activities. These experiences not only helped to strengthen the bond between Sofia and Clara, but also to unite Laura, Marta, and Carlos. They learned to support each other and collaborate in raising the girls, always prioritizing the well-being and happiness of both. Initial differences gave way to warm and supportive cooperation. As the meetings became more frequent, Sofia and Clara began to develop a shared routine. They visited each other's houses and even started thinking about plans for the future, such as studying at the same school. Laura and Marta worked together to create an environment that valued each girl's individuality while celebrating their special relationship. Conversations about the past were handled sensitively, ensuring that Sofia and Clara understood their stories in a positive and constructive way. The support of professionals, such as family therapists, was also crucial in this process. Families attended counseling sessions where they openly discussed their feelings, fears, and hopes for the future. This helped resolve any remaining tension and ensure Sofia and Clara received the emotional support they needed. The girls, in turn, began to better understand their own emotions and deal with the new reality in a healthy way. Counseling was a valuable tool to strengthen family bonds and build a solid foundation for the future. In addition to gatherings and activities, families also began celebrating special occasions together, such as birthdays and holidays. This helped create a sense of unity and belonging. Laura, Marta, and Carlos became close friends, exchanging experiences and supporting each other. The new family dynamic, although initially complex, evolved into something harmonious and enriching for everyone. Sofia and Clara flourished in this environment of love and acceptance, showing increasing confidence and happiness. The girls were especially excited about the future, making plans to vacation together and even considering living near each other when they were older. Laura and Marta encouraged these ideas, seeing them as an opportunity to further strengthen the girls' relationship. Over time, Families learned to deal with the challenges and celebrate the joys that came with this new phase. The stories of their lives, once separate, were now inseparably intertwined. When reflecting on the path taken, Laura, Marta, and Carlos felt deep gratitude. The journey to discover the truth and build a new beginning was not easy, but it was undeniably rewarding. They realized that although the past had been complicated and full of secrets, the present and future were full of promise and new opportunities. The families, now united, were eager to see what the future held for Sofia and Clara, knowing that, with love and support, they could overcome any challenge and celebrate each achievement together.